Okay, we're back. I've got this issue taken care of, so let's quickly get this done for the blade and the point, and then the blade. Okay, so we're going to want to go to the top view. Right now we don't have these edges here, and what we're going to end up doing is going into the vertex mode here. Make sure our snapping is turned on so we get the snapping to the grid points. Go ahead and select quick slice up in the properties of the object. Go ahead and click, and then click on this vertex with the snapped. There we go. We're going to do the same thing for the top, for the other side of this, for the blade. Go ahead and click there. What's going to end up happening here is we're going to get out of the vertex mode and get out of the quick slice mode here. Go into the perspective viewport, and what you're going to see here is that it created one side on here, but didn't do it on this side, and that was the error that we were having before. But it did go ahead and create this side and this side. It did not, is what I'm saying. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into the vertex mode here, and there's a vertex. Turn off your grid snapping. There's a vertex here, and then select the other one that's directly across from it. You're going to want to go to the properties and hit the connect. It's now made a line connecting these two here. On the same side, you're going to select the vertex on the outside, the vertex on the inside, and go ahead and click connect on that as well. That's going to create the necessary polygons, that lines that it needs to. Go ahead and do it on the other side for the blade, right here, and then right here, and go ahead and click connect. You've now got nice and evenly done here. And while you're at it, you might want to click here on this vertex and on that vertex, and go ahead and connect those, and on the bottom go ahead and do the same thing. Click on this vertex and then this vertex. Remember, hold the control key to select multiple vertexes at the same time, or edges or polygons. Okay, go ahead and hit connect. Now this made a full edges where we need them to be. So from here, I've gone ahead and I figured out also how to make these evenly pull together. What we're going to do is going to go into the edge selection mode and click on this edge. That's connecting this side, and then this edge as well, connecting this side. Go ahead and select the scale tool. Make sure parent is selected for the type of the screen view world. Make sure parent is selected. You're going to need to have that one selected. Go ahead on the z-axis. You can see it's scaling nicely. I'm just going to I'm going to right click on this, and on the offset parent, I'm just going to click 2, and that's going to bring them really, really close together. You can find the perfect setting for you, but I'm going to go ahead and leave that one at 2. We're going to go ahead and do the same for this side. We're just going to take this one edge right here on the side to make the point. We're going to also, by the same exact amount, we're going to bring this by 2. If you've chosen 5, 10, 15 on the other one, make sure you use the same number. So we're going to go 2 to keep it nice and even. Okay, so what ended up happening here, we get a nice point to the edge that you can bash people with. This is going to be the pickable weapon, pickable object here, but in the next tutorial it's going to be talking about turning that pickable object actually into a weapon that you can use and swing and do damage. Everything is perfectly fine, as you can see. Everything runs beautifully on both sides. Okay. Go ahead and go to vertex mode. Select these two opposing edges here, and go ahead and connect those. That's what happened here. From here to here on the other side. Go ahead and connect those as well. There we go. We got a nice geometry happening here. Okay, that's good. We got the basic shape. Everything's perfectly fine with this. The next step is going to be importing it into Mudbox. Again, you can follow this tutorial 100% even if you don't have Mudbox, due to the fact that free. Students.autodesk.com has that program for free. So go ahead, if you don't have it already, you can download it if you want to follow along with the rest of this tutorial. Through Mudbox, we're going to be creating more of a little bit more detail. As you can see, this is square, well, this is square here, and it doesn't look very nice if it's square. The handle's usually are round, so I'm going to add all that little extra detail through Mudbox. All right. Another thing you need to know is that if you brought this into Mudbox as it is here, you're going to notice that the normals are going to be really messed up. When you subdivide, you're going to get your model really, really messed up. This is due to the fact that you need to have your object somewhat tessellated in order for it to not be messed up. What it does is Mudbox tries to automatically subdivide your model. Not subdivide it, but it tries to smooth everything out. And if you have square edges here, it's going to smooth it. So let's say if this is square here and it tries to smooth this, you're basically going to end up with this corner being gone here, and this is going to be like your new polygon. It's going to create a line here because it's going to try to smooth this edge and square it off. So if you want to keep these hard edges, which you're going to want to do all throughout here, these hard edges, is you're going to want to have to add some tessellation to it. But if you also, we're going to go through the steps of making it as low poly as possible. By adding that extra geometry, by tessellating it, you're going to end up with unnecessary polygons, and that's okay because there's a trick that I know how to do with Mudbox to basically use this model here as the untessellated one. So what we're going to do here is very quickly, very quickly, is go ahead. Alright, go ahead and go to edge mode. Go ahead and select every single edge in your entire handle. Actually, select every edge in the, here we go, select every edge in the entire deal here. Some of the edges you're not going to have to select. What you have selected are the ones that are on the middle of the faces. You want to select the edges that outline your object. So this one is selected. So go ahead and deselect that. Go ahead and deselect that. Every one that's not outlining your object, you want to deselect. Okay, let's see here. Okay, I think that's perfect. I'm just going to add geometry to the ends of these, so the edges are a little bit more high poly, so then when Mudbox performs the smoothing that it needs to, you still maintain the basic shape of your object. So go ahead and, after you've done those edges, go ahead and select the chamfer and make sure you're on the chamfer settings, not the button, but the settings here. And you're going to want to define by how much you want to do these things. You can go ahead and select, let's see, how many edges you want. It's a good idea to click about 5 edges to add an appropriate amount of geometry to these edges here. And you're going to want to bring in how much to do that by quite a bit. I'm going to be selecting here. I'm going to be selecting 0.5 to bring that in, to add some edge geometry. That way Mudbox keeps the basic form. If we bring it into Mudbox and it doesn't keep the form and it does a lot of smoothing that makes it look crappy, you can go ahead and just increase the amount right here, the connect edge segments, how many, to like a higher number here. But right now we're going to be sticking to 5 to see if this works. You can see everything is high poly or high poly on these sides of the object. Go ahead and click the check mark to finish that up here. Okay, once that's done, we can go ahead and be happy with bringing this into Mudbox. So I'm going to be selecting my object. I'm going to be right clicking on the select and move, and I'm just going to, well, first of all, just select the object, go into the hierarchy tab and affect pivot only and go ahead and center it to your object. Once that's done, you can right click on the move button and just right click on either of these arrows to bring it to the 0, 0, 0 world coordinate XYZ coordinate, so your object's right in the middle. As well as this, we're going to be wanting to go into the property utilities tab, go ahead and reset XForm, and then go ahead and reset selected. Once you've done that, you can just go to the collapse in the utilities tab and just go ahead and make sure mesh and single object is make sure Boolean isn't selected, but you can go to single object here and just push collapse selected, or you can do the more traditional way of just right clicking and then collapse all. Go into the hierarchy tab again, go ahead and click reset transform, reset scale once. Another good note to know, this works beautifully, is that if you have a whole bunch of different objects selected and you reset their X form, after to close the, to collapse it, you're going to select each individual object in order to collapse it, and that can get very time consuming. I found a short way to do it, and that's using the reset X form while you have everything selected. And then whilst everything is still selected, go ahead into the collapse tab and make sure multiple objects is selected, and then go ahead and collapse your selected. That will collapse every object that you have, and that's a time saver like crazy. Okay, we're going to want to export this as an OBJ for Mudbox. So I've got my object selected, and I'm going to go to File. First, I'm going to save it. That way I make sure I have it. We're going to name this AXE underscore low I accidentally hit enter when I was not ready to. X low underscore poly. You can save that wherever you want. Just remember where you saved it. Okay, from here we're going to go to export. I'm going to export this here. I'm just going to export mine in my desktop on a folder called models that I've created. And I'm going to go here and put AXE and X underscore low underscore poly. That way I know it's a low poly. I don't have to open it up in a program to know that it is. So just by looking at the name, I'll know it's low poly. It's a good idea to do that for naming conventions. You know, name things appropriately so it's easier to figure out. I'm going to create a new folder in here. We're going to call it X. And this is my own reasoning. I desktop models, and then I created a folder. That's just organization for me. You can, you know, save it wherever you want. I'm sorry if I'm saying a lot of things that a lot of you guys already know, but in my tutorials I like to be clear and pretty much go from beginners to expert. You know, even beginners can follow along. Alright, so axial poly, I'm going to make sure that object obj is selected, and go ahead and push save, and that's going to bring up this dialog box. You're going to want to just go to presets and click Mudbox and just push OK. Okay, it's all done. I'm going to resave my scene. I'm going to go ahead and open Mudbox. Again, this is the 2012 version here, free at Autodesk, students.autodesk.com. Okay, once this opens up, make sure that everything, all these pop-up windows here are closed if you have them open. I'm going to go ahead and click open here on the welcome screen, and I'm going to navigate to my object that I've exported, which is the axe. I'm going to make sure that I'm going to go to the axe tab here for our folder and click on axe low poly. Now that we've got it exported into Mudbox here, you can see that it's kept our nice geometry here because we subdivided the edges, and that's exactly what we wanted. It works beautifully, beautifully here. As you can see, there's a couple of normal issues here, but that can be resolved by just creating your more edge subdivision. But for now, that's beautiful. I like it. It did a really good job. All right, through here, we're going to basically continue of modeling nice soft edges, and we're going to do that by let's see if this is enough geometry to do this here. Let's see if there's enough geometry. I'm going to select my sculpt tools down at the bottom left hand corner, make sure I have on smooth selected, and here I'm going to start smoothing. Right now it tells me that there's not enough polygons for it to do this operation, so you're going to want to hit Shift D. That's going to subdivide your model. There's 2,000 polygons. Go ahead, keep subdividing. I got right now 129,000 polygons. Let's zoom in here. That's going to be too much. So once you've subdivided, hit page down on your keyboard. That will bring down the thing quite a bit. And let's see. Go ahead and just work on smoothing out your edges to create a more round look. I'm going to go down another subdivision so that I can smooth faster, and make sure I get that nice round edge. It doesn't have to be perfect, perfectly round, due to the fact that these things have probably been used quite a bit. If you desire perfectly round, then go ahead and just reflect that in how you modeled the object before. You should be pretty familiar with modeling objects. If not, this tutorial shouldn't have been for you. But for those of you who do, as you can see, I'm just basically sitting here and making my object a little bit more round, more natural looking instead of square. You could have a square object if you wanted to. I'm going to go in here and keep on smoothing until I get a nice round effect. Nice round effect. Let's keep going. Go ahead and subdivide a couple times. I've gone ahead and going back through the different subdivision levels by hitting page up and page down to model on different polygon counts here. Going ahead, and I'm just still working on the smoothing here. This is in chance, this is in return making the object more high poly than, let's say, we really wanted to. This is turning out to be something that that I don't really like here. So I'm going to jump back into 3D Studio Max and make a couple of modifications. Let's see how we're going to do this. Let's go ahead and this is what I'm going to do. Crap. Unfortunately, because I've saved it, I'm not able to go back and get rid of these divisions here. This really sucks. Let's see here. I can just get rid of all these collapse. I don't want those there. And let's go to my edges, see what happens here. Let me select my edges, and let's see if I can actually go to chamfer again and create 5 and increase. Yeah, that ain't gonna work. yeah, unfortunately, that's not going to work here. Um, like I said, this was a quick and easy deal, so I'm not going to end up going into making it exactly perfect. You can do that on your own. But the basic idea is just to bring it into Mudbox and add some more geometry, add some smoothing, and stuff like that. You know, you wouldn't smooth here because that would make it inappropriate. The best option, I think, would be is to make the handle one object and then make the axe another object, the metal axe another object, and then in 3D Studio Max, you would just basically you know, attach them together to make them one object, and then you're able to modify this and this without creating some smoothing on the edges that aren't supposed to be there. But this is just an easy tutorial, so I'm not going to get into that because I've messed up. Okay, so what's going to end up happening here is we're going to go ahead and get back our original object. We're going to go to File. We're going to open. I'm going to reopen our low poly, and we're not going to save the scene. So this will bring us back to what we have here, just like that. Perfect. All right, this object does not have any UVs on it, so I'm going to go to Mesh right in the tab here. I'm going to go to Create UVs. The more tiles you have, the more high quality your textures are going to appear on it. So I like to work with more than one. I usually go with about 10 to make the most high quality I can. Keep in mind that Cryengine will only accept one. These are tiles. Textures work in the 0 to 1 UV space. What this does is it basically takes the UVs and puts them in 10 different tiles. That's why you get higher quality, because it's using 0 to 1, 1 to 2, 2 to 3 different tiles. Basically like tiling them, but into one texture. Before we export to Cryengine, we're going to need to convert this to a one set of UVs, and I'm going to go ahead and show you how to do that later on. So it's okay, I just clicked it, it's all done, creating the UV tiles. We're going to go ahead and start the texturing here. After, I'm going to show you the axe that I actually spent a lot of time on in the engine. And so you can see what a really nice axe looks like with reflection maps and everything. Alright, so we're going to want to just Google something. This is going to be like a wood texture. Right here on the handle, we're going to make a wood texture out of that. I'm just going to go to Google for this. Go ahead and go to Google. In case you didn't know, on CryDev forums, I put up a 19-part tutorial on creating procedural destruction. It's pretty good. If you want to take a look at that, go ahead and look at it. You can pause the video and copy down this address, and I'll bring you right to it. Go to page 1, and you'll be able to see, starting on page 1, part 1 here, or you can go to my YouTube channel, Rich Mar. It's my username. You'll be able to see all my parts here, starting from 1 to 2, 1 to 19, creating custom objects that are capable of procedural destruction. Okay, so right, I've got pickable objects here. I've taken this tutorial, which can be confusing to some, and created a more user-friendly version, which I'm doing right now, obviously. So I'm going to go to Google, and I'm going to go to the Images tab. I'm just going to look for a nice wood texture. I typically like to look for, like, if I'm looking for wood, I type in wood texture, high res, whoops, spelled that wrong, high res, and I just look for a nice texture to put right on my my handle. These are really high resolution. Typically I downscale them once I get them into the engine. I kind of like this texture here. It's pretty good. I like that texture. Look for some different textures that would fit it, my object more appropriately. Let's see here. Just quickly look for a nice texture. This looks pretty cool. You just want to find the best one that you wanted to find and use that. But this one does look pretty cool. Okay, once I've opened it, I'm gonna save image as, and I'm just gonna name this wood texture. And actually, I'm not sure where I saved that, so make sure you save it in a place you know where it is. Yeah, go ahead and save it to your desktop or whatever. I'm just gonna name this wood texture. Okay. After that, I'm just going to minimize this. I'm going to minimize this as well. I got my wood texture, as you can see, right on my desktop. I'm going to open this with the Photoshop here. Not Photoshop, GIMP. GIMP is a free program. GIMP, GIMP. It's a free program. Look it up. It's good. It's just like Photoshop, but it has a couple of functions in there that are more easier to access, that I believe. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to open up my GIMP. It's a little dog symbol or cat symbol or whatever that is. Okay, now that I have GIMP open right here, I'm going to go ahead and open up my wood texture by clicking and dragging onto it. You can also go to File and then Open and search for it, but I like clicking and dragging. First things first, I'm going to go to Image, and I'm going to go to Scale, Scale Image to bring it down to a power of 2 texture. And I'm going to choose 2048. Uncheck the link because you don't want to link them. So 2048 by 2048. These textures need to be the same dimensions, exact same number here, and go ahead for scale. It's going to make a square texture out of it. That's 2048 by 2048 pixels. After that, I'm going to go to the Filters tab. I'm going to go to Map, and we're just going to click Make Seamless. This makes this texture seamless, which is easy. In Photoshop, you have to do offsetting and stuff like that. This has a quick button that makes things seamless, much faster. All right, from there, I'm going to go ahead and File. I'm going to save, and I'm going to just use the highest quality for the compression. And there we go. I've now got a nice little texture to use here. Don't worry about these effects of the tiling, because with Mudbox, you're going to be painting with the textures, and it's going to be customized. It's not going to be, this is not going to be tiled over and over again. You're just going to paint on it, on the object with this texture. I'm going to go ahead and close that. I'm going to open up Mudbox again, and I'm going to go to the Paint Tools. I'm going to go to the Projection Brush. Make sure that's selected. From here, I'm going to go to the Stencils tab, and I'm going to go to this arrow, Add Stencil. From there, I'm going to go to the desktop and search for that texture I made. Just double click on it. It's going to ask you what size of the texture UV. What size? You got 10 tiles of UVs, but how many? What's the resolution of each tile you want to use? So if you think about it, it's 2048 by 2048 times 10, so it's quite high resolution. And go ahead, select the channel, diffuse, specular. This is going to be diffuse here. Just leave it at 8-bit. You want to make sure that it is 8-bit, not 16-bit. And don't worry about the name. You can change that if you want to whatever you want. I've gone ahead and created that. And now that I've done that, I'm going to go ahead and scroll on the stencils. I've added a stencil, and that's going to be this here. As you can see, I added that texture over here. And I'm going to hold S and just right click and move to scale that around, and keep holding S to with the middle mouse button, and you can pan it like this with the holding S while using the right mouse button will scale it, and then holding S while left button will rotate the texture. Just go ahead and get it where you want. Now if I left click to paint, you're going to notice that it just puts that texture right onto that. I am aware that this is not the best texture for it. Again, this is just showing you the basic steps of start to finish on modeling a weapon. It's neither the best model either, but like I said, it's just the steps to go. So we're going to go ahead and just get that taken care of here on the texturing part, and just keep moving around your model to get a nice texture going on here. If you see seams, like there's a seam right here, that's fine, because then you can just bring your texture back over and keep doing that, and that's how you're going to be modifying. That's why I said it doesn't really matter if the texture looks like it's messed up. in the tiling aspects, because you can just really quickly really quickly get those kinks out of it. I'm going to want to hold B and use my left mouse button up and down to select the brush size and bring it to a smaller size here. And just going to be very careful about how I brush this. The reason why it's not painting even though I'm over here is because my texture is not that length. So I just, after I'm done doing this, I'll just take my texture and bring that down a little bit, just like that. And to get really nice results, you're going to want to really take your time on this. I'm not, like I said, it's just a tutorial here on the basic steps to get it going. Go ahead and bring my object down to get some more textures onto here. Let's see here, I'm just going up and down, trying to get this going. In the future, on the comment section of anywhere I post this, let me know if these in-depth tutorials are something that you guys enjoy, or do you guys really enjoy just really quick and easy tutorials, like really quick, that don't explain that much. I honestly like doing these long, lengthy tutorials, because if you have the time, you're going to learn a lot of stuff, more than you would in a 5-minute tutorial, let's say. But if you guys don't like it, you know, I could spend, you know, I can do it really quickly if that's what you guys like. So just let me know in my comment section wherever I put this video tutorial. I'm going to be putting this on the YouTube channel. I could be placing it someplace else like Crydev as well. Just let me know. I'd appreciate it a lot, because I'm doing this to help everybody out there that's had troubles here creating their, you know, mods or maps or whatever. So just let me know. I'd appreciate it a lot. You can push Q at any time on the keyboard to hide your thing. And if I zoom right in, you can see that this just gets really extremely high quality textures onto your models by using the multiple tiles. It's new in the 2012 version, I believe, to add multiple tiles. So I highly recommend the 2012 version if you can. Like I said, I know this isn't the right texture for it, but it's just representing a wood texture that you would use. Let's go ahead and push Q to bring back this R selection here, and let's just rescale it. We get the corners in here. We can get the corner in there. I'm at a 45-degree angle, basically along this corner of it. That way, if I get some of the texture on the sides, it's not as stretched. Because if your brush is too big, if you're not careful, you can be painting on one side, like you can be painting right here, and then if your brush is if your brush is overhanging one of the edges, it'll get brought over to the other side. Let me show you. If I'm painting here on this side and I'm going right down here, and if I'm not careful, if I go ahead and I look back here, you notice you're going to see some texture stretching here. That's why I've kind of found the happy medium along the line. So if I do go over on this edge here, the texturing will still kind of be you know, less distorted. Just a couple of hints and tips if you're interested. Alright, I'm going to get the end here. This is a lot longer than 10-minute tutorial. So this is like my third tutorial, so I mean, I don't know if YouTube automatically makes them 10 minutes, but if not, I'll have to sit there and go through the process of making it, splitting up the files, which it takes a while, so it could be a while for this to be up. I hope not. I hope it automatically splits it as it's being uploaded. That'd be awesome. Alright, let's get this edge here. Alright, I think that's enough for the handle. Get the rest of this. Like I said, I make my brush a lot smaller so that I can be careful and not get around the edges, so it doesn't cause it stretching on the other side. Alright, I think I got enough with the with that here. I'm going to go ahead and add a specular map to this as well. This can be done by right-clicking in on the blank space in your Paint tab in the Layers preview. Right-click and add a new layer. Make it the same size if you want. Specular maps don't need to be the same. They can be a lot lower resolution if you needed to. Specular maps are not that important for the resolution. So go ahead and, instead of diffuse, go ahead and click the specular tab here. And go ahead and choose TIFF 8-bit. You can use any one you want, really. Targa, TIFF, or PNG. Make sure they're 8-bit though. Go ahead and push OK. This is going to create a specular layer, a specular channel you can paint your specular on it, custom specular, Like if I want to be shiny along just the edges here, I can just make sure my specular is selected and just clicked, the corner. As you can see, it's making just the edges specular. It's pretty neat how that works. But we're going to be just using the same texture as the wood, so that's easy. Just click on the diffuse of the layer we were choosing to do our diffuse on, and just right click and just click duplicate. Once this is duplicated, we can just select the duplicated one and just drop it down onto the specular, drag and drop onto the specular. That will just go ahead and make that diffuse texture the specular as well, so it's nice. It works beautifully. Go ahead and delete that the layer that you created, because you're not going to need it, because this is the layer that is your spec. So just rename that so you know what it is, wood spec, and then up here you can just double click to change it, and just type in wood underscore diffuse. Okay, that's beautiful. Alright, as you can see here, nice specular on it. If you want to control the levels, which you probably don't need to do, you can use the Cryengine to, once it's in there, you can use Cryengine to affect the brightness and stuff like that. But just select your specular if you want. There's a plus arrow, and just click and then drag down. This is actually the opacity. See, this is 0 opacity, or strength, you can look at it as, but technically it is opacity. And the higher I put it, the more that specular texture is showing through. So you can go ahead and set that at like a fully at 100. We'll just edit that later in Cryengine. There you go. You get a nice wood texture on that. I am aware that this is not perfect, but like I said, this is just to demonstrate. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to be selecting the metal here to texture it. Go back to Google and you can go to images or wherever you get your textures from, and just type in metal. Whoops. Metal texture high res, and just go ahead and find any one that you would like to use. They got some nice metal textures on here. You want to make sure that's pretty high resolution when you're doing that. You don't want low quality stuff. You can always downscale it later, but you always want to paint with the highest quality and then downscale if you need to later. So I'm just going to keep searching for a nice texture to use as some metal. Let's see. let's see what this looks like. Okay, this is a pretty cool texture here. I'm just going to save this as well and call this metal and just save it to my desktop. Same process as before. I'm going to make this a power of 2 texture and also turn on tiling. I'm going to open up GIMP. Just going to load up the necessary libraries and extensions it needs, and it's going to open. Okay, I'm going to click this metal and just bring this on into GIMP. From here, I'm going to go to image and scale, just like before. Make sure my thing is not linked. Excuse me, guys, I'm still sick. 2048 by 2048. And go ahead and scale that. Cryengine does need power of 2 textures, plus graphics cards always render faster when dealing with power of 2 textures. Just a quick little factoid. Go to filters, go to maps, go ahead and make seamless, and see just a quick little click of a button made it seamless. Photoshop, you have to do a lot of up and downs over hoops and stuff to try to get it to seamless, and that's just easy. So we're just going to go to file and save. It's going to replace our texture. I don't want to create a new texture for it, so we're just going to save over the one existing we have. Okay, I've gone ahead and did that. Same process. We're going to open Mudbox back up. We're going to go to the stencils. We're going to click the arrow, add stencil. Go ahead and select your metal texture. We're going to take this metal and keep it on the same layer. When you're pinning your diffuse, make sure in your diffuse channel, not your specular, otherwise you'll be pinning specular. So I'm going to go ahead and just resize this, and to not have to keep moving, I can go ahead in the projection properties, just make sure that's selected. If these properties are not showing, and they're showing some other properties, just make sure you just left click on your projection. And let's see here. Oh, not working. Go ahead and click your texture, left click your texture, and you're going to see these properties, the stencil properties. And you go ahead and click use tiles. That way it tiles it, so you don't have to keep moving it over and over and over again. So I'm going to go ahead and increase my, go ahead and, go ahead and increase my brush size. My mouse is giving me a lot of issues here. Alright, click my brush size. And, whoops, it's not what I wanted. I have my object selected. I'm just going to unselect that object. And just zoom that in there and zoom into my model so I get a better look here. Scale that back up a little bit. And just paint. Just like that. Just like that. There we go. I've gone ahead and did that, and I can just go in here and paint the rest over here. Typically, when you're using different textures, like I use that texture and now I'm using this texture, you want to create a different diffuse layer. It's going to be a lot easier to paint with that. Some of the some of the disadvantages of not making a new layer is that this texture will not paint over this texture because, it will, but you're going to get better blending if you use a new channel. What's showing through right now is not the texture, it's actually the specular is showing through. But let's just go ahead and keep texturing our object here. You can add a lot of detail by doing it this way. I mean, if you want to. It's all about what you want to do, because it is your object, your model, your style. But this is just what I do. This is very, very simple. Very, very simple. Go ahead and paint. be pinning. Alright, I'm going to grab another texture to add a little bit of scratches to this object here. I'm going to delete this specular channel. And I'm going to create the specular after, and this is what you should do actually if you're going to use the textures, your diffuse textures as specular. You should not create a specular channel or a normal channel until your diffuse is completely painted on everything that you wanted. Otherwise, all of the different textures that you use won't be put into the diffuse channel. Only the textures that were already on there at the time of creating that layer will be added to it. Since I created the wood texture specular before adding the metal, if I paint the metal here, there's not going to be the specular for the metal is not going to be added because of the fact that I added the specular channel before that. So make sure all your textures are painted beforehand here. I'm going to go ahead, like I said, grab a different texture so I can add some nice some scratches to it. Some nice scratches to it. And you can do, like I said, whatever you want. This is all about what you want to do. A good scratch texture, I saw one before. A nice scratch texture would be, let's see, something like that. That was nice. It's a pretty nice one here. Save image as I'm going to just save this as a scratched metal. Remember, naming convention is important, not for things to work, but just for organization skills is pretty important. I'm going to minimize that. I'm not really going to worry about squaring off that texture, making it a power 2. I'm just going to go straight ahead and just add a stencil and make sure I add that texture, and otherwise you won't be able to paint with it. Alright, go ahead and make sure that scratch metal is selected here, and go ahead, set your scaling however you want. I'm going to create a new channel for this because I'm going to want to do some blending between this texture and the metal underneath. That's how you can do blending, is when you create new channels. So I'm going to right click, I'm going to click new layer, and I'm just going to make sure that this is a same amount. I'm going to name this scratch underscore metal TIF. I'm going to make sure that's a diffuse. I'm just going to go ahead and just going to create that. More textures you have, the more it eats up your GPU memory. I happen to have 2 GTX 470s, which is a total of like 3,000 or 3,500, 3.5 gigabytes of GPU memory. But if you have, anything more, you'd be able to have more textures created to be able to work with before it starts really slowing down. And if you have less, you're not going to be able to make as many as some people are able to make. Also, using more tiles eats up that GPU memory for the textures quite a bit. So right now I'm using 530 megabytes of GPU memory here. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and paint on the scratches. I'm going to go ahead and just bring that way down, and so I can get a little bit of higher quality here. For this layer, I'm going to go ahead and bring the opacity or strength down by 50, and just paint. Just some scratches along the object. Go ahead and decrease the opacity a little bit more to about 25%. You don't want to, override the underlying texture. You just want to add a little bit of scratches, like it's been in a little bit of a battle here. So go ahead and do that. remember, you can create this however you want. And put a little bit more time into it than I am, please. When you follow this tutorial, and if you choose to make your own object, please share the results with me. I'd love to see. I'd love to see how you do it. Once I've painted that over with some scratches on it, you can see there is some scratches along the edges here. You can go ahead and you can find, through the opacity of the metal, you can go ahead and find the best amount. I happen to find right now, looking at it, I like the 30% is pretty cool. Also, you're going to want to find a nice blending mode. Normal, typically, I mean, it works, but I find a better mode. Like, let's see, multiply. No, let's see, overlay. How about darker color? Color burn. That one's pretty cool sometimes. Yeah, that looks cool. Yeah, I'd probably not use that. But I mean, you know what? Maybe I will use it. That is pretty cool. But let's check other ones out first. Let's see, darken, hard light. That's cool. Just find a nice blending mode. Vivid. Linear burn. No. Let's do linear. Let's color. I mean, that's pretty cool. It is, if you think about it. I mean, it's the best it's going to be right now. All right, now that we've completely textured this model from top to bottom here, this is going to bug me. By the way, I'm going to select my wood diffuse layer, which is what this was painted on, and I'm going to reselect the wood, and I'm just going to take care of this part here, because to be honest, that was bugging me like crazy. Let's get this taken care of. By the way, I'm not using fraps like I did with my procedural destruction tutorial, so this should be a lot smoother and easier. And you're going to notice in my procedural destruction tutorial, if you have seen it, there was some menus that weren't seen in Cryengine, like the roll-up bar and stuff like that. Everything was not, I guess it looked like it was recording it, but Fraps just did not pick it up once I reviewed the videos. This does. I've tested this and it works pretty well. It's a free software here. It's called ZD Soft. ZD, let's see. It's ZD Soft Screen Recorder 4.1. It's really, really, really good. But that's what I'm using this time around. Let's go ahead and let's check around to see. Yeah, okay, good. Everything's covered. So go ahead. Now we're going to create our normal map and specular map right from our textures here. So I'm going to right click and create a new layer. This layer is going to be the same thing. But for the specular, I'm not too concerned with making it a high quality. Just choose one step down of 1024 and name this specular. I'll not name it, but choose a channel of specular and go ahead and click OK. Go ahead and make another layer for that was for the scratched metal text, scratched metal specular, and then we're gonna make one for the diffuse. So go ahead and just use specular and make that one as well. Actually, we only needed to add one just to create a layer here, so we can actually go ahead and we can just delete this. And for the scratched metal. Wood diffuse, let's see, wood diffuse, go ahead and duplicate the selected, and it's going to duplicate it in a couple seconds here. Bring that down to the specular. And I want to show you what I'm talking about, what textures eat up GPU memory if you have a lot of tiles. Like I said, you don't need the one that you created, you just need it to create one to open up a specular channel, then you can just start dragging your textures by duplicating and dragging. If you look down here, we have 511 megabytes just by creating one more texture. Look how much this number down here, 511, increases. It's crazy. So let's go ahead and duplicate this here. Let's see, it just went up to 671. It went up, actually 831. It went up, you know, depending on which one you're selecting, apparently. But yeah, it eats up a lot of memory. So let's go ahead and take the scratch metal and bring this down here. Okay, you're going to want to select the same blending mode. Actually, it's gone ahead and did that for us, it remembered. So the top one is color burn. So if you look around, everything is going to have like the popular specular. Go ahead and bring this metal, the thing back up to a, whatever you need to. Let's try like a 50 here. You can get some nice results. You can get some nice results with that. All right, let's go ahead and bring the specular down of the wood and bring it down to 50. I chose not to edit it through Cryengine. Probably gonna do it still, but I want to edit through here. So there we go. We got a nice object here, and that's what we have to do here. The last and final step is going to be transferring the detail onto here, the textures and everything onto a model with one texture, one UV tile, because Cryengine will not be able to read multiple tiles. It's a limitation. I don't think it's like a limitation, like it couldn't be done, but it's just not programmed to do so. So what's going to happen here is I'm going to transfer the details. I'm going to go to first of all, I'm going to save it so I don't lose any of my deal here. So I'm going to go to desktop, and I've made a folder called saves. I'm going to go to Mudbox, and I'm going to go ahead and Axlo Poly, go ahead and save it just like that. Oh, file extension must be mud. So go ahead and delete that .obj if it's there, and just go ahead and save it. Okay, right now it's in the process of saving. If you have a lot of UV tiles, it could take a while. Also, depending on the speed of your computer. Okay, it's gone ahead and saved it. Now I'm going to just import file, import the Axlo Poly again. And it's going to go ahead and import that in. And it's here. It's just because it's the exact same object, same size, same everything. It's actually under this. So if I go to my object list up in the right hand corner here, object list, you're going to see this is called line 1. This is line 2. That's really funny because it's not a line, but that's what it was called in 3D Studio Max. They were called lines. But this is our original. You can see here because it does have UVs, and this has no UVs. So you're going to want to go ahead and create UVs for this. By going to mesh, make sure this is selected, objects. Let's go ahead and make sure that object is the one that doesn't have UVs, or the one you imported is selected. And once you've done that, you can go ahead and mesh, create UVs, and just make one tile here. Okay, it's gone ahead and made one UV tile for this, and I'm just going to see to make sure I've selected the proper one. Yes, as you can see, doesn't have any textures applied to it. So now I'm going to go to a nice tool that Mudbox has. That's why I use Mudbox for all my texturing needs. It is completely above and beyond any program I've ever used. I'm going to go ahead and, even though this has 10 tiles and the other one has 1 tile, or even though, let's say if a high poly object had so many polygons and it had a different UV textures, like the layout is completely different, the way the textures are set up are completely different, and you want to take all that detail and put it onto a different object that has completely different UVs as well, it will take care of that and look just the same. It's just amazing. As you can see, this one has 10 UV tiles, and the one I just imported has 1. So obviously the texturing layout is going to be completely different, but Mudbox has no problem of transferring details. So go ahead and push map, extract texture map, new operations. We're going to go ahead and transfer paint layers. And target model is going to be a low poly model, so make sure that our not low poly, it will be a low poly if you're using a high and low, but we're going to take the one that doesn't have anything and add it for the target, and we're going to add selected, and then we're going to take the one that does have textures and go ahead and add selected. From here, we're going to make sure smooth target models is on, and everything else, like these two, should be off. Everything should be the same. For ray casting, we're going to use ray casting is fine. Go ahead and click best guess. Furthest outside is what you're going to want to use, and go ahead and push test both sides. For the image size, make sure it's the same as source, or if you want to downscale it, you can downscale it or upscale it, but make sure it's the same size. Anti-aliasing, you can use it. I like to use it. Go ahead, and it just takes a little bit more time. Go ahead and use anti-aliasing. Transfer all paint layers and replace anything that was there. Alright, go ahead and push extract. Look at the bottom left hand corner, you're going to notice that it's in the process of extracting here. It's 50% done. It's continuing to extract. I think it does like 10 or 11 times all the way through 100%, due to the fact that I think it's taken each layer, as in there's 10 tiles, so it's 1 tile, 2 tile, 3 tile, 4 tile, and then does, puts it on the lower polygon, or in this case, same polygon count, but just different UVs, so the Cryengine can handle it. You're going to notice there is going to be a decrease in quality from the texture quality. It does a good job at keeping the quality, but because you're only using 1 tile and not 10, there is going to be a texture quality difference. But I find instead of painting on 1 layer then doing it, actually painting on 10 layers and then converting it to 1 layer actually does more. It keeps better quality, honestly. I don't know why, but it does. Mathematically it shouldn't, but it does. Mudbox does an amazing job at doing this. You could, if you want, just use 1 tile in the beginning and just painted it, but I suggest you using more than 1 tile and then transfer it. It'll give you the best quality. But you could just use the single one all along and just painted it and then exported it. But right now it's all done here. And if I select my lower one here and bring that up and just go to objects and deselect, you're going to notice that it's gone ahead and it's transferred the paint layers, and it's exactly like it was before. The wood is lower quality, but they're pretty much the same. You can see how it lowered that quality. But this is my workflow that I like to do. It works quite well. But there you go. That's nice, It should be more high quality for in-game, but not too much, because it could eat up a lot of FPS frame time. So this is fine here. You'd be swinging this hell out of this thing. So, all right, I'm just going to push Control Z just to bring it back down to where it is. It's still there, just under this object. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to save this as a different file. Save it as, so you don't save over the O1. And just save. I'm going to name it ax underscore both axes. So I have a scene that that includes just a low poly, both of them together, so I can open it up and modify the one that has both of them if I need to, or change things between them. It just allows me to, yeah, it has to be mud, okay. So it just allows me to have 2 different files. God damn it, I have to redo it again. X both axes. This is optional, you don't have to. I suggest you do. You could have saved over the original, but I suggest you do 2 different files. You can, if you want, go ahead, still saving. Lower hand corner, 30, 40, 50%. You can go ahead and to lower your processing requirements. You can go ahead and delete the other mesh. No, not the one you just created and put the lower textures on, but the your source model. You can go ahead and delete that if you want. I'm going to do that right now. I'm just going to select it and just click delete. Now what's left is the lower quality one. The lower quality one is right here. One thing, I go to layers tab and make sure you're in here. As you can see, it just transferred everything. It's amazing. I didn't have to texture 2 different objects. Pretty amazing. One thing I did notice that I did not do is I did not create a normal map for it. I like to do that. So one thing we can do is we can right click and create a new layer. You can use a 2048 texture and go ahead and make sure that you're on bump map. Do not click normal map. Let's see, I'm trying to think here. Yeah, you're gonna want to create a, you can try normal map, but typically it may not work. Yeah, you have to choose bump map, but let's try normal map, and make sure TIFF is selected here, and just push OK. You're gonna want to do that just to create a normal map layer. Then you can just drag your 2 here, just duplicate the diffuse, duplicate that. It's gonna make another wood, and just bring it down into a normal map layer. As you can see, this is exactly why I did not want to create a normal map. It really does something really weird with this. That just confirmed that's not what I wanted. So let's go ahead and let's just delete this one and delete this one. It will go ahead and delete the normal map layer if it knows that there's no things in it. So go ahead and right click, create a new layer. Go ahead and create a bump map. Doing this mean a bump map. Cryengine's not going to be able to read it as a normal map because it's not. It's a bump map. So later on, we're going to convert that into a normal map, and that's fine. I'll show you how to do that as well. Go ahead and create a bump map. Right click and just duplicate your diffuse, and just bring this down here. Once you've done that, and this is due to the fact it's a lot better than it was before. It's just too strong. So just go ahead and take your scratched metal and just go ahead and duplicate that as well to get some normals on the scratched surface, using the textures from the scratched onto that. So go ahead and just delete this extra one, you don't need it. The thing you want to do here is go to the scratch metal and just reduce so, the more you put, the more it does that. So go to the wood, and it's way too strong for the normal map, so you can go ahead and lower that considerably. And you can clearly see that there's normal on it here. The specular is just making it look really glossy, but that's how you do a simple normal map on an object like that. Let's go ahead and just take the specular to make it look a little bit better here. Just bring that down to like the same amount as the 8 or 9. It's going to look okay. Let's bring this normal map just, still way too much. Let's go ahead and put that at a 4, and it's normal mapped. You can see it. If you guys want, sometime I can show you how to make really high quality objects, but there you go. And you can increase the normal map of that if you want, just a little bit. If you wanted to, but that's just simply how you do that if you want to make different channels to do that. Okay, now that I've got, let's see, now that I've got this like this, all of my things blended the way I want to, since they're all blended the way I want to, I can go ahead and collapse them into single textures. So for the bump map, I'm just going to go to merge visible. I'm just going to go ahead and merge them, but keep the same blending I had before, and that's a really good thing. It only takes one texture. Just combine those two textures into one, but make sure you've created two so that you can blend them properly and then combine them. So go ahead and take this and then merge visible. It's going to merge that with that. Everything's going to be perfectly fine. Go ahead and take the wood here and then just go ahead and merge visible. There we go. Everything's perfectly fine. Now we only got three textures: a diffuse, a speck, and a bump map. If you didn't want to create a specular, you can just delete the specular as well, and then in Cryengine just use the diffuse as a specular. You could have done that as well, but this is, you know, showing you how I did it. There we go. Once that we've got that all done, we can go ahead and we can just right click and then export selected. You can go ahead and choose a TIF 8-bit. Like I said, we'll make sure that it's 8-bit. Make sure that it's 8-bit and go into the models and let's see, models, axe, and I'm just going to create a new folder in the axe and call it textures. There we go. I've gone ahead and created textures. I'm going to save the texture as axe underscore diffuse DIFF to let me know it's a diffuse. I just saved that. I'm going to go to specular and I'm going to sit there and go to specular, export selected, and just click AXE underscore spec and just go ahead and save that. For the bump map, like I said, this Cryengine will not read this as a normal map because it's not. It's a bump map. It's a grayscale. It's black and white. You can go ahead and convert that. I'll show you, like I said, how to do that. Okay, go to export selected and just export this as AX and RM from normal and go ahead and save. Now that we've done that, we can go ahead and export our object that we've got fully textured here. We can go to File, Export. You have to select the object, and then after that's selected, go to Export Selection, go to Models, Axe Low Poly. I can sit there basically and just rename this axe underscore textured. Remember, file naming is important for remembering, and good naming conventions is good. Okay, I've gone and exported that. Now that we've done this, we're able to just close out of this. I didn't save the scene due to the fact that I wanted to have it saved with both of those objects in there. And since I deleted one since then, if I saved it, I'd still only have one object. So I wanted to have that save file have both the objects. So I chose not to save it because I've already exported my textures. I won't lose those, and and I've already exported the object, so that's fine. I'm gonna go back into 3D Studio Max, and I'm just gonna save this. And so I don't lose it, I'm gonna open. I'm going to go ahead and open that. I'm going to import that object that we exported from Mudbox. So go ahead and go to import. Make sure you import it. Search for where you exported it, and that would be under models, axe textured. That's good, axe textured. And go ahead and reset the scene, and just push import. Okay, that's gone ahead and that's imported. It maintains the textures as well, so you're gonna have some nice textures here. I'm not sure, these normals are looking really weird. I'm not sure how I can fix that. But we can try, for instance, selecting the whole object and then go into the polygon select and just make sure all the polygons are selected. From there, you can just clear all under the polygon smoothing groups and just auto smooth. Once that's done auto smoothing, you can go ahead and click, and still it looks kind of weird the way that is, but that's fine. If you know how to fix that, then go right ahead. But Alright, now we're going to go ahead and apply a material with the textures on it. So I'm going to click here. I'm going to go right into the Crymax tools. Open up the material editor. Once the material editor is selected, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make sure that this is a Crytex shader by going to Crytex shader. This is not going to be a multi-sub-object material. This is just going to be just a standard, regular without a proxy. By not creating a proxy and a proxy material, it's just going to use the actual object as the physical representation. As in, if you don't create one, like a physical proxy in the material for it, it's just going to use the geometry as the collision as well. So, it's not high poly, so go ahead and do that. So you don't need to make a multi-sub object. From there, we're going to make sure it's Crytex shader. Let's see here. Physicalize. In order to do that and not have a proxy, you're going to have to physicalize that material and make sure that it's a default. Once that's done, we're going to import our maps, which is our textures here. Maps. And, that's how you do it. Go to diffuse, click none. Go ahead and click a bitmap. It's going to allow you to open up a texture to use as your diffuse. And just keep scrolling to where you put it. I put mine in models, acts, textures, and this is my diffuse here. I'm going to make sure that show shaded material and viewport is selected. Make sure that it's selected. If you want to have, if you want to be able to view it on your object in here. Specular. Go to bitmap and just select our specular map here. Make sure that is also, what is it called? Show shaded material in viewport. That's good. And for the bump map, since it's not a normal map, I'm going to choose not to use this right now. We can use it later. Actually, this is just for previewing purposes. I'm actually going to need to use the Crytif plugin to convert it to Crytif files and then assign it to here before I export it the material to Cryengine. So this is just for viewing purposes I'm showing you right now. Once these are all done here, I'm going to rename my axe object. I'm going to rename this just simply AXE. Sorry, just AXE. And your texture, your material that you have assigned to your object is going to want to be named in the home thing. Like if you have a multi-sub object material, you're going to have different layers. Like you're going to have a channel with ID 1, ID 2, ID 3 for different materials or textures on it. But you're going to want to make sure that your home, your base, where your base object material is going to be named the exact same as X or exact name as your object. And it needs to be exactly the same. I'm going to go ahead and name this X so I can do that. I'm going to show shaded material in viewport. I'm going to click this object and I'm going to make sure that I assign it by clicking this button here, assign material to selection. I've now got my object in here that's appropriately textured. That's good. Everything's textured, as you can see. Okay, I'm going to close this here. I'm not going to need that right now. Okay, so the part for this now, I'm going to go ahead and stop the video just to check how big the file size is. I don't know if I can keep recording, so I'm going to check the file size, and then I'm going to be back with explaining how to make it pickable. All right.